A Course in Miracles, lesson 13 and 14. The lessons are a meaningless world engenders fear, and then God did not create a meaningless world, so let's talk about it. The idea for this is one that might bring up a lot of resistance, and you might not buy into it at first, and that's totally okay. This is about rewiring our minds for peace. So it's just about practicing. It's not about necessarily understanding, but a meaningless world engenders fear is talking about how when we look out at the world and we see these scary images like war or illness or, like these things that feel really scary and negative to us, that's kind of because we aren't seeing the truth, true meaning, true presence. We aren't seeing the spirit that is behind all of the things, and instead we're just seeing the images and the illusions. Once again, this isn't something that, some of these Course in Miracles lessons are ones that, you truly cannot get from a logical perspective. It's about practicing and opening your mind up to a totally new possibility that is kind of beyond logic. It's this knowing, this true perception that can only come when you aren't in the logic of the mind. And so that's what A Course in Miracles is about. It's about opening us up, slowing down, listening, not labeling, judging, seeing things the way we've always seen them. That's what creates all of the fear in the world and the negativity and the fear in your life. What do you truly want out of life? We all have these things that come up in our lives, stress us out, freak us out, they upset us, and then as soon as it's over, we get a little period of happiness, and then there's something else stressful, like the next day or the next week. It's about getting out of that cycle and finding peace within yourself so that you can see reality and not be sucked into the illusions of the world and be let them basically run your life. Because as humans, that's what we do. We get into these cycles of up and down and up and down, up and down, and we're never truly happy. And so Course in Miracles is helping us find that true happiness.
Yeah, and lesson 14, because we're doing 2 in 1, is God didn't create a meaningless world. So this might bring up a lot of resistances to the practice, because it definitely did for me. Considering also the logical side, we try to make logical sense of it, considering a couple of lessons ago it was our thoughts create a meaningless world. But God didn't create a meaningless world. Everything happens in divine order. Every leaf that falls from a tree is meant to fall from a tree. It's not meaningless, it's not coincidence. And even the word God might bring up a lot of resistance for some people new to this space. It certainly did for me on my journey, because I would associate God with religion. My ego would resist religion. And God is beyond that. And if it helps, you can replace the word God with whatever suits you best. The universe, the creator, whatever you want to use. But just for these exercises, I like to use the word God because it caused resistance in myself, and now it doesn't anymore, and it feels good to say it. But yeah, there's going to be some resistances come up in these lessons. Just try not to overanalyze the lessons, and just stick with it.
Yeah, and any resistance, that is just showing you where you might be carrying something inside of you, and something you can learn to let go of so that you can actually live in peace. God did not create a meaningless world, this definitely brings up resistance, because this lesson's saying, like, look at all the horrors around you. You're saying in this practice, God did not create this war, therefore it does not exist. That brings up a whole lot of resistance for the ego. Like, what about the injustice? What about blah, blah, blah? You know, like, there's so much that comes up.
Yeah.
So it's not about, like, denying reality. It's about changing your perception on it. And so that's the practice.
Yeah, and just remember the previous lessons. We're never upset for the reasons that we think. So this resistance, is it really that? Is that really the root cause? You don't even have to know what the root cause is, but just that's another thing to remember is you can always go back to other lessons if you want, but that's just something that I thought there of, like, well, if I'm feeling resistance, is that the actual thing I'm resisting? Is it something deeper than that? You know? And we're not meant to know, and that's okay. And as we continue these practices, part 1's all about unraveling the ego, trying to get rid of the ego. Not that we can get rid of it fully because we're human, but I think, well, we don't know that either, you know? But, that's another thing that just came into my mind is we're never upset for the reasons we think. So any resistance that we're having, you could try and remember that too, like feeling it and then watching your emotions and then just letting them go.
Yeah, and you said it beautifully, and we will see you guys again tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.